So many places, one unforgettable journey. Let's travel the world, one breathtaking stop at a time.
What if you could walk into a real life palace filled with secret doors, sparkling treasures, and stories of powerful sultans? Sounds like a fairy tale, right? But get ready, because this magical place is real, and it's called the Topkapi Palace Museum. Imagine stepping into a world where kings lived in giant rooms covered in gold, where gardens bloomed with colorful flowers, and where secret meetings decided the fate of entire empires. Topkapi Palace was once the heart of the mighty Ottoman Empire, one of the greatest empires in history. But how did it become a museum full of amazing things? And what secrets still hide behind its walls? Let's start with the treasures. Inside the palace, there's a room where jewels sparkle brighter than the stars. Swords, crowns, and even golden thrones are tucked away behind glass, each one with a wild story. But that's not all. The palace also holds something even more unbelievable: religious relics so rare that people traveled across the world just to see them. But wait, there's more. Deep inside the palace is the harem. No, it's not just one room. It's a maze of more than 300 rooms where the royal family lived. Imagine a place filled with secret hallways, tiny hidden courtyards, and golden fountains. Only special people were allowed inside. Can you guess who they were? We'll get there soon. Now picture this. In the biggest courtyard, important visitors had to wait outside, sweating in the sun, before they could meet the Sultan. If you were lucky enough to be invited inside, you had to pass through gates with names like the Gate of Felicity. Doesn't that sound like a doorway straight into a fairy tale? But what made Topkapi Palace so powerful wasn't just its size or its beauty. It was the brain of an empire. Inside, wise advisors planned battles, wrote new laws, and sent out messages to rulers all over the world. It wasn't just a fancy home. It was the control center for millions of people. And here's a little-known secret. Even though it looks peaceful today, Topkapi Palace was once full of whispers, spies, and big decisions that changed the world. Hidden behind those beautiful walls were some of history's greatest dramas. Who would rule next? Who would be banished? And even who might become a legend? But you're probably wondering, how did this giant palace become a museum for everyone to visit? The answer is pretty amazing. After the Ottoman Empire ended, the palace was turned into a museum so people could walk through history and feel like royalty for a day. Now anyone, you, me, and explorers from all over, can step into the magic. So what's the big answer? Yes, there really is a place where treasures glitter, mysteries hide, and ancient power still lingers in the air. That place is the Topkapi Palace Museum. If you've ever dreamed of walking through a real palace, uncovering secrets, and touching history with your own two eyes, then Topkapi is waiting for you. So what are you waiting for? Your royal adventure is just a heartbeat away. What if you could step into a real-life time machine and walk through a city built thousands of years ago? Sounds impossible, right? But hold on tight, because there's a place where you can do exactly that, and it's called Ephesus. Imagine a place where the streets are made of shining marble, where huge statues of gods and goddesses watch over you, and where a giant library once held scrolls full of ancient secrets. Ephesus isn't just old, it's one of the greatest ancient cities ever built. But how did it survive so long? And why was it so important? Let's start with the Library of Celsus. This building is more than just stone and columns. It was once a treasure chest for the world's knowledge. People from all around came to read, learn, and share ideas. Some say it was like the ancient version of Google. But that's not all. Just down the road, you'll find a massive theater that could fit over 20,000 people. Imagine a concert or a play happening there, with the whole city watching and cheering under the open sky. But wait, there's even more magic here. Ever heard of the Temple of Artemis? It was so grand and so gigantic that it became one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. People traveled from faraway lands just to see its tall columns and sparkling decorations. Sadly, today only a few pieces remain, but even those are enough to make your jaw drop. Now, here's a little secret. Ephesus wasn't always in the same place. Long ago, it was right by the sea, full of ships and traders bringing treasures from everywhere. Over time, the sea moved away and the city slowly faded, but its spirit stayed strong. Even today, when you walk through the ancient roads, you can almost hear the chatter of markets, the music from festivals, and the clatter of chariots racing by. And guess what? Ephesus isn't just about old stones, it's about amazing stories too. Legends say that important figures like Cleopatra and St. Paul once walked these streets. Imagine standing where they once stood. Every corner of Ephesus holds a mystery, a secret waiting to be discovered by adventurous explorers like you. But you're probably wondering, how did this city survive earthquakes, wars, and the test of time? The answer is simple. People cared. They rebuilt it, protected it, and made sure its magic wouldn't disappear. And today, thanks to archaeologists and dreamers, Ephesus still stands proud, like a giant open book made of stone. So what's the big answer? Yes, there really is a place where you can time travel without a machine, where history and imagination dance together, and where ancient secrets whisper in the wind. That place is Ephesus. If you love mysteries, heroes, and epic adventures, then Ephesus is calling your name. So grab your explorer's hat, open your heart to wonder, and dive into a world where the past is always alive. Get ready. Your greatest adventure is just one step away. What if an island held a hidden dragon, cliffs that look like dinosaurs, and a beach too dangerous to swim in? Sounds like a fantasy movie, right? But guess what? It's real. Welcome to Panita Island, one of Indonesia's most magical and mysterious places. But why are so many people talking about this place? And what makes it so special? Get ready. We're going on a wild adventure. Penida Island is just a short boat ride from Bali, but it feels like stepping into a completely different world. The moment you arrive, you'll see steep cliffs rising from the ocean, turquoise waters sparkling like gems, and shapes that make you rub your eyes in disbelief. One of the most famous spots? A giant cliff shaped like a T-Rex. Seriously, it's called King Beach, and from above, it really looks like a dinosaur's head reaching into the sea. But don't get too close. Even though the beach below is super beautiful, it's also one of the most dangerous places to swim. Huge waves crash onto the shore, and strong currents pull even the best swimmers out to sea. So why do people still visit? Maybe it's the thrill. Or maybe there's a mystery hiding beneath the waves. And that's just one part of the island's magic. There's a place called Angel's Billabong, where the water is so clear you can see every rock and tiny fish swimming underneath. But be careful. When the tide rushes in, this peaceful pool becomes a wild, churning trap. Locals say you have to read the ocean like a storybook to know when it's safe. Another strange and wonderful spot? Broken Beach. It's not really broken, but there's a huge hole in the rock that lets the sea flow into a giant circle. The result? A natural pool surrounded by cliffs, where the waves create a perfect secret lagoon. Some say it was formed by ancient magic. Others think it's nature showing off its skills. Now, let's head under the sea. Because Panita Island is also home to one of the rarest fish in the world, the mola mola, or sunfish. These giant, flat creatures can grow bigger than a person and love to visit the deep waters around the island. But you have to be lucky to spot one. They don't show up every day. So what's the secret? Why does Penida feel like it's hiding something? Could it be the ancient legends told by locals? Or maybe it's the way the island changes every time you visit. New waves, new winds, and new wonders. One thing's for sure, Panita Island is full of surprises. And here's the big answer. Yes, there really is an island with dragon-shaped cliffs, magical beaches, and mysteries waiting at every turn. It's not in a fairy tale. It's Panita Island. So if you've ever dreamed of finding a place that feels like a hidden treasure map come to life, then it's time to pack your curiosity and go exploring. Because Panita isn't just a place. It's a wild adventure waiting for you.
What if I told you there's a real island where people live to be 100 and still hike mountains, laugh with family, and drink wine under the sun? Sounds like a fairy tale, right? But this isn't a storybook. It's a real place called Sardinia. It's a sunny island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, and it holds one of the biggest secrets in the world, a secret about long life, happiness, and maybe even how you could live longer too. So, what's the big deal about Sardinia? Let's start with what you see. Blue skies, rocky hills, sheep grazing everywhere, and those ancient stone towers called Nuraghi. They're thousands of years old and still standing. But wait, that's not even the most amazing part. The people in Sardinia? They live longer than almost anyone else on Earth. We're talking about lots of people who are 90, 100, even 110 years old, and still active, sharp, and happy. So what's their secret? Is it a special food? A magic water source? A hidden treasure? Well, maybe it's all of that, but also none of that. Let's zoom into their daily lives. First, the food. Sardinians eat homemade bread, fresh veggies, goat cheese, and olive oil. And they don't eat too much, just enough. But food isn't the whole story. Now think about how they move. In Sardinia, people walk everywhere. Up hills, down hills, across farms, through tiny towns. And they're not lifting weights or doing crazy exercises. Just lots of natural moving every day. Still not the full answer. Let's go deeper. Imagine having lunch with your grandparents, parents, siblings, and cousins every single day. In Sardinia, families are super close. Old people aren't sent away to homes. They stay with their families, and everyone shows them love and respect. They laugh, they share stories, they feel needed. And that's huge for staying happy and healthy. They also don't stress much. They take life slowly. They work, but not like it's a race. They rest, talk, and take naps in the afternoon. Sounds like a dream, right? So let's put the puzzle together. Is the secret to long life in Sardinia the food? Kind of. The walking? Definitely helps. The sunshine and clean air? Oh yes. But the real secret? It's how they live. Simple, connected, active, and full of love and purpose. That's what makes Sardinia so magical. No spells, no potions, just a way of life that's full of heart. So if you had the chance, would you want to live like a Sardinian? You don't need to move to Sardinia to live longer. Just start by walking a little more, laughing a little louder, and staying a little closer to the people you love. Try a Sardinian moment today. A walk, a nap, a homemade meal, or a story shared with someone you care about. Watch again, share with your friends, and maybe even try living the Sardinian way, starting today.
What if an island could float on a river, vanish a little every year, and still be full of stories, colors, and dancing monks? Sounds impossible, right? But hold on tight, because it's real, and it's called Majuli, a magical island right in the middle of the Brahmaputra River in Assam, India. This place isn't just a land of mud and trees. It's a world of legends, traditions, and nature that's constantly shifting. Are you ready to visit a place that feels like it's from another time? Let's start with something wild. Majuli is the largest river island in the world. Imagine a huge piece of land surrounded on all sides by rushing water, like it's floating. But here's the twist. Majuli is disappearing. Yep, year after year, the river eats away at the land. So how does it still survive? And why do people still live there? The answer is in the people and their incredible culture. Majuli is home to special places called satras. These are not just temples, they're like schools where people learn music, art, and even perform ancient dances. And who teaches them? Monks. That's right. Monks who don't just pray, but also act in plays, paint colorful masks, and even farm the land. One of the most famous performances here is called Bhavna, where stories from Indian mythology come alive with drums, songs, and glowing oil lamps. Imagine a stage under the stars, with people dressed as gods and demons, dancing as the crowd claps along. Sounds like a movie, right? But it's been happening here for hundreds of years. Now let's talk about the island itself. It's super green, filled with rice fields, bamboo huts, and narrow muddy paths. Birds chirp everywhere, cows roam free, and kids run along the riverbank with wide smiles. And when the rains come, the whole island changes. Water rises, roads vanish, and people use boats to travel. Here's a secret. There's a man on Majuli who's grown an entire forest by himself. His name is Jadav Payeng, and he planted trees every day for years. Now there's a full jungle with elephants and tigers on the island, all because one person cared enough to protect the land. But let's not forget, Majuli's disappearing. Scientists say it might be gone in a few decades. So, how do the people feel? Sad? Scared? Surprisingly, they're full of hope. They dance, build, and celebrate life, even as their island slowly shrinks. So, what's the big answer? Yes, there really is a floating island full of magic, art, and stories. An island that dances even as the river tries to wash it away. That island is Majuli. If you ever dreamed of a place where nature and culture hold hands, where every sunrise brings a new story, and where even a vanishing island teaches us how to live boldly, then Majuli is calling you. So, what are you waiting for? Dive into the dream because Majuli won't wait forever. Let me know if you want this turned into a video script, blog post, or social media caption. What if there's a city where flying fish, underground streets, and giant needles all exist in one place? Could it really be real? Let's head to a city that's more than just coffee shops and rain, Seattle. At first glance, it might seem like a normal place in the northwest corner of the United States, but this city hides surprises at every turn, like a tower that looks like it came from space, and an underground city that was left behind when the ground level was raised. That's right, there's a whole hidden world beneath Seattle's streets. Now, Seattle is famous for something you might know. Starbucks. Yep, it all began right here, but that's not even close to the most exciting part. This city was built by dreamers, adventurers, and people who weren't afraid of a little or a lot of rain. And boy, it rains here a lot, but that hasn't stopped Seattle from becoming one of the coolest cities in the world. Want to see flying fish? Head to Pike Place Market. That's where fishmongers throw giant fish through the air like they're playing a game, and crowds cheer every time. But that market has been around for over 100 years. What secrets are hiding in those old wooden stands? And what's with that giant needle in the sky? That's the Space Needle. Built for the 1962 World's Fair, it was meant to show what the future could look like. And now it's one of the most famous landmarks in the world. You can ride an elevator all the way to the top and see mountains, water, and the whole city from way up high. Still not amazed? Let's talk about music. Seattle is the hometown of some seriously legendary sounds. Rock bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam started right here. The city has a beat that never stops, from jazz in the clubs to street performers on every corner. And then there's the tech side, home to big names like Amazon and Microsoft. But Seattle hasn't lost its quirky charm. It's where gum walls become art, and boats sometimes look like houses. So what's the truth? Is Seattle a city of the future or a living museum of the past? The answer is both. Seattle is a place where skyscrapers touch clouds, fish fly, music rocks, and secret tunnels hide below. It's a city that never stands still, always changing, always surprising. So next time someone tells you Seattle's just rainy and sleepy, tell them it's actually a city full of secret streets, flying fish, and towers reaching for the stars. Now, what if you lived in a place where the ocean freezes, the mountains are covered in snow all year, and your only way to get around is by place? Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But guess what? It's real. Welcome to Tasiilaq, Greenland, one of the most remote and extreme places on Earth. But how do people survive in a land of ice and snow? Let's find out. Tasiilaq is a tiny town, home to only about 2,000 people. There are no big roads, no fast food restaurants, and no shopping malls. In fact, for most of the year, it's completely surrounded by ice. So how do people get food? How do they stay warm? And what do they do for fun in a place where winter never really ends? The people of Tasiilaq have lived in this frozen land for centuries. They are called the Inuit, and they have mastered the art of surviving in one of the coldest places on Earth. They hunt seals, fish in icy waters, and use place to travel across the snow-covered land. Imagine riding on a place pulled by a team of strong, furry dogs. Sounds pretty cool, right? But here's where things get even crazier. In the summer, something amazing happens. The sun never sets. That's right, for months, it's daytime all the time. You could play outside at midnight without needing a flashlight. But in winter, the exact opposite happens. Darkness takes over, and the sun disappears for months. Can you imagine waking up in the morning and it's still pitch black outside? Even though life in Tasiilaq can be tough, the people here love their home. They have colorful houses that pop against the white snow, they tell stories of ancient legends, and they celebrate with music and festivals. They even have special sports like Arctic football, where players run and slide across the ice. So how do people survive in such an extreme place? The secret is simple.
They work together. The Inuit people share food, help each other build strong houses, and teach their kids the skills they need to live in the Arctic. It's not just about surviving. It's about thriving in one of the most